Hey everybody, I'm Belinda Sandor. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. I'll be your host for this week's episode, where I'm going to share both tactical and practical information all about your virtual assistant business. Now, these tips are for you if you're just starting out as a virtual assistant, or if you've been one for a while. Okay, so I'd love to hear in the comments where you're coming in from. And I see Angela's here. Good morning. Carrie's here. So today we're going to talk about the right tools for the job. And this episode is brought to you by the VA Connection. And at the VA Connection, we work with new, aspiring, and established VAs to help them build a thriving business. And we do this through our free online community, courses, and coaching programs. All right, so here we go. So we've got, it looks like probably Frederica from Amsterdam. We've got Diana from Wet, Texas. That's awesome, you guys. So come on in. Let me know where you are. So before we dive into this juicy topic, I am going to introduce myself. All right. So this is me, and I call her my little delish, and Emily, my daughter, in 2010. She was about 9 years old, and I was just starting out as a virtual assistant, and it was really a challenging time. It was a challenging time. I had a lot going on, and I didn't quite know what to do. I was a newly single mom. I was going through a divorce, and even the best divorce is very tumultuous. You're dividing up, kitchen spoons, and who gets the couch and all that stuff. It's very stressful, and we had to move 3 times in 4 years before we found the right place for us, a safe neighborhood and the right school district for Emily. And that is really stressful as well. And what made it, it would have been easier if there had been some big pile of money to throw at it, but there really wasn't. I was massively in debt. I had to sell my home to even begin to turn this whole thing around. And I hadn't been able to pay the mortgage for a year. So there were a lot of people, as we say, at the table as the condo closed, all the people that I owed money to. And that was really stressful too. That was really stressful too. And the thing that got me for a while and really got me hard was I was just about to turn 50, and I had all kinds of expectations about what 50 was supposed to look like. I was supposed to be happily married. I was supposed to have a killer job. I was supposed to own a home. All of these things that we think in our 20s are just kind of going to happen, and instead everything was falling apart at that moment when I thought everything was going to start to be okay. And I was definitely determined to try, but I felt beaten up. I absolutely felt beaten up. So I started to temp, which was great. I got myself out of the house and started to make a little money, but I realized that I wasn't going to make enough temping to turn this around and to have any kind of a lifestyle. So I decided to go out on my own and tell people I was doing admin work. I'd been a secretary in the past. I was an office manager. I like to figure things out. And one of the things was I was always the one that people came to, like, my printer doesn't work. How do I this? How do I that? And I always like to figure things out. And later I found out that is a superpower. I didn't know it at the time. I just thought I was the one, And so I decided I was going to give this a try. And like I said, I started telling everybody I knew. So the first client I got was at the school bus stop. So for those of you who are prospecting, don't waste your time trying to figure out, who's going to hire you and who's not. You're never going to know. You're never going to know. And I have over 200 stories to back that up of people who have hired me that I never would have guessed. So here I am. I'm at the school bus stop. One of the dads says, "What's new?" And I think, okay, well, what the heck? I say, "Oh, I'm starting a new business, helping people with admin work." And the stakes were really low because I thought he had a job. So I had no feeling of weirdness about telling him because, it was just like, this is what I'm doing. It has no impact, and his face changed and he said, what? And he told me he'd started a business. He was drowning in administrative details. And he said, can we meet like tomorrow and talk about this? And I started working with him immediately, doing everyday kinds of things. I paid his bills. I went to the Apple store and I bought computers for the employees. I installed software, for them, and went to the post office. I mean, just things that, if you can imagine someone's trying to grow, a big business and they're in the line at the post office, like that doesn't work, right? And so in that way, we've talked about this a lot. I was the solution to his problem, and he loved that. And it was a great relationship for sure. So hello, Meredith from Florida. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, hello, Heather. And it is Frederica. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good, good. So let's fast forward a little bit. I've been in business since 2010. My virtual assistant business is called Rocket Girl Solutions. I've worked with over 225 clients. And I want to say this because a lot of you are beating yourself up. I'm pretty sure I had over 600 discovery calls. Okay. So it wasn't like 225 people showed up and we just, got started skipping through the meadows. There was some trial and error, and even all these years later, when I've had discovery calls, it's not about hitting it out of the park. It's about figuring out if you're a good fit, right? You don't want to be convincing someone, oh, you need a virtual assistant. It has to be a good fit, because when it's not, it is not good. It is not good. So I just want you to know that it takes effort, but it's worth it to find the right people. And then the other thing is that, a lot of people wonder if you can make money as a virtual assistant, and you 100% can. And the first year I was in business, I made $70,000. And every year since, I made $100,000 or more doing virtual assistant work myself. Not an agency, not training people, sitting in this chair I'm sitting in right now, doing the work. And this is what it looks like today. This is my new husband. We got married in the summer of 2021. These are our kids. It's Emily and Greg's 4 boys, David, Charlie, Stephen, and Andy on our wedding day. And life looks very different now. It looks very different. And it was a journey, it was a journey. And it took years for me to get everything under control and to know what was going on and to get to the place where I know what to expect in my finances. I know what to expect, and I can totally breathe again. I can totally breathe again. So let's everybody take a deep breath. All right. And know that wherever you are, you can turn the ship around. And I had a big ship. All right. You can turn it around too. Good. And it looks like Dana's joined us from Colorado. Hello, Dana. Okay, so we're going to talk about the tools you need to run your business. Now, a lot of you think that you need like an all-in-one, or you need to spend a lot of money on tools. And today we're going to talk about how you can have all the tools that you need and spend practically no money. All right. Now, I did not choose these tools that we're going to talk about today because they were practically free or free. I didn't do that at all. I chose them because they solved the problem I had, right? So just like you're a solution to someone's problem, you want your tools to solve a problem for you, or to, support you in some way, and not the other way around. Because I see VAs, they'll sign up for like Dubsado or email newsletter. So Vicky is saying, I thought you were going to talk about email newsletter today. I 100% am at noon. So you're early for the game. Okay. I'm going to talk about that today. So I hope you'll join me. And we'll talk about that. Thanks for reminding me, because I wasn't going to mention that. So I want you to, so what I was saying is, I see virtual assistants, I see them choosing a tool, spending, investing, and then it becomes like this job to run the tool. And you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be the opposite, where the tool is supporting you and it's convenient and it's not really expensive, because there's really no need. So we're going to dive into that. Okay, good. The other thing I want to say, because I've seen this too, and when I see this, I just think, oh no, people buy tools they think they're going to need in the future. Don't do that. I was talking to someone not that long ago, and she bought, she's not a VA, but she bought an $700 shopping cart app that she thought or solution that she thought she might need in the future because she thought it was on sale. And it actually wasn't. They did this like one time, you can get lifetime access. They changed the whole thing to lifetime access. But because of the marketing, she was led to believe that this was like the super secret thing and she was going to save a ton of money. So yes. Yeah. So Diana's saying, yes, I feel I fall into that future trap too. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it. And the other thing I want you to do is I want to challenge all of you to look and see what money is coming out of your checking account and what is it for? What is it for? I was going to do a podcast about 5 years ago, and I signed up for Audio Acrobat, and I think it was $19 a month, and I paid for it for 2 years. It was ridiculous. And I was so wrapped up because I thought, if I cancel it, that means I'm not going to do the podcast. Like, that's so silly. So how much was that? 24, I can't do the math. It was like, what is it? So $20 a month times 12, that's $240. So that's $480. That is a ton of money to be holding on to some silly, dream. I still haven't done the podcast. I don't know if I ever will, but the point is that, just don't do that. Don't feel like, somehow by paying it, it's going to get you to some other place, because I could have easily canceled it and signed up again, because it's not like I invested all this time and I was just needed to do one more thing. I hadn't even opened it. Okay. So don't do that. Good. Now, having the right tools is going to make you more efficient, more productive, and believe it or not, it's going to make you happier. And the reason it's going to make you happier is you're not going to be grimacing and, upset because things are broken. There's nothing worse for me than I want to get something done and I can't get there. That is such a drag for me. Okay. Yeah. So you guys, someone says I was just about to buy possible future tools. Yeah. Don't do that. Now, my dad was a furniture maker after he retired. It was his hobby. And what he used to say to me, and he had every tool. I mean, he had this huge shop and it was very cute. Every tool was like on a pegboard and he traced around it, so he knew where everything went. So you can see the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But he used to say to me, don't buy a tool until you need it. And when you get it, get the best one you can for what you're trying to do. And I just remember that, I just remembered that. So let's go through what you need. And we're talking about a baseline. All right. And then you can add to that as you need to. So the first thing you're going to need is hold on a second. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's click here. Okay, good. All right. My notes didn't line up for a minute. That happens. So the first thing you're going to need, actually, let me do this. You're going to need a reliable computer. Okay. You're going to need a reliable computer. You may or may not need a printer. I don't print that much. So if you're not printing a lot and money is tight, just hold off on the printer. You don't need like a whole office setup, like it used to be when you had a job. If you can afford it, having a printer and a scanner is a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. And you can get them for, about $100. But don't feel like you're not in business for real if you don't have a printer. Okay. Definitely. All right. So now let's jump over here. So there's some things that you're going to need to manage as your business grows. Okay. And so the first thing that's going to happen, and this is going to happen pretty fast, is that you're going to need to organize your digital files. All right. So digital files. Now there's a way to do that. You can do it with OneDrive. That's a Microsoft product, Dropbox, or Google Drive, or whatever it is you have. Now, I don't necessarily recommend putting them in my documents. You want to have them be backed up in the cloud in some way. And the thing is about being virtual. My Dropbox documents. So Dropbox is an application where the documents that I work on, they're stored on my hard drive and they're also in the cloud. So that means I can log into their website and see everything. Or I could access them on my hard drive. Now, the reason I like that is because I work on different computers. Sometimes I work on Greg's computer. I work on my laptop. Sometimes, and when I first started out, I was on the go. I had a computer in Boston, and I had a computer in Connecticut because I prefer a desktop. And so my files were always synced. So when I drove down to see Greg, everything was ready. I just turned on my computer, waited a couple of minutes, and boom, everything was synced. So there's you need a place, but I also want to talk to you about the organizational structure, because when you're a virtual assistant, if you want to be successful, you cannot be struggling looking for stuff. Okay, those days are over. Now, I am just like everybody else. Well, most people. My personal files, with the exception of like my taxes, my medical stuff, my pictures are a mess. I have all kinds of things that I've downloaded from the internet for my own personal use that are a mess. I have not taken time to organize that, but I hold myself accountable when it comes to my client work because it belongs to them. If I create, downloadable freebies or, Word documents or PowerPoints or whatever I create, even if I send it to them, they might say to me, can you make an edit to that? And they can't find theirs. So, excuse me, I really hold myself accountable to keeping all of their information neat and clean and organized. And there's a couple of easy ways to do this. So think in terms of categories. All right. So at the top level of your file categories, I have clients, Rock Girl Solutions, and personal. So everything goes into one of those. So personal is like pictures, my tax stuff, all of that. In my clients, each client has their own folder, their first name and their last name. And then I use subfolders under that. So if a client sends me a bunch of headshots, it goes in their folder, subfolder, headshots. They all go in there. So you want to keep it really, really clean. And, the days are gone. Some of you aren't even old enough, and the ones who are going to laugh. But you used to have to only have 8 characters, dot something, 3 letters, in order to tell what the file was. So people had all kinds of crazy, ways of naming files. You don't have to do that anymore. So just really don't be shy about naming something what it is. Like this presentation is called 12423, the right tools for the right job. And I could even have said lessons from the cockpit. All right. So make sure that you're doing that. Make sure that you're doing that. The next thing I want to talk about is Microsoft Office. Now, some of you are Mac users and you may or may not have Microsoft Office. I believe that Microsoft Office is one of the baseline tools that you need. You can get the student edition. All you need is Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And you might not even need all of those, but I'm going to guess that you definitely need at least Word and Excel, because clients are going to send you files, and that's just sort of that's just kind of a tool of the trade. And I have had clients who have pages, but the translation is a little tricky. So most people are going to have Word. Most people that are clients are going to have some kind of Office experience, and that's what they're going to use. Okay, good. Now I want to talk about password management and why it's important. So imagine, when it comes to your business and your life, maybe all of your passwords are like, I don't know, your street name, or the number of your house, or your grandson's name and his birthday, or something like that. In order to be safe, it's important that you have unique passwords for each thing that you log into in your business. Hopefully, your clients are going to do the same. Now, when you are managing, even 10 clients or 5 clients, I generally have at least 4 to 5 logins for each one of them. For some of my bigger clients that I've been working with for years, I could have as many as 50. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, they have 10 websites and they have, all these different things. And he asked me to check his wife's, newsletter, and it just grows over time. So you really want to think about a way to manage that. Now, there are several applications that do this well. NordPass, 1Password, Dashlane, and LastPass. All right, I'm going to say those again. NordPass, OnePass, Dashlane, and LastPass. I have been using LastPass for a really long time. I know it was in the news recently that there was some kind of breach. My understanding is that that's been handled. So keep that in mind. I'm not going to leave LastPass. I have way too much information in there. That would be a huge project. So for now, I'm going to stay tight, but sit tight. But definitely think about that and go ahead and get that set up with your passwords. So when a client sends you theirs, you're not struggling, if you have some time. All right, good. All right, let's talk about project management software. Okay, so project management software, imagine that you've got 10 or 15 clients, and you want to keep track of steps in a process. So here's an example. So imagine I had, let me see. I probably had about 15 clients, and I had newsletters that I did for all of them. Some of them I did once a week. Some of them I did once a month. Some of them we did every other week. Each client has different steps in their process. So project management allows me to create checklists for each client and have them in an organized way. So one client wants me to publish every other Thursday. He's got 10 steps. He wants me to put it on social media in a certain way. He wants me to resend it to the people who didn't open 3 days later, and he wants me to put it on his blog. Someone else wants something completely different. So this way, I was able to make templates in project management software in order to manage that. So I could see at any moment where I was in the middle of 15 different newsletters without breaking a sweat. And I set this up when my business got busy, because I'd go to bed and think, oh no, what did I forget? And this way I could just look at it and say, I'm good. I'm good. Now, when I first started out, I used paper and pencil or pen. I had notebooks, spiral notebooks from Staples, and that worked really great. And then once I had 5 or 6 clients, I started to get confused. And so let's talk about tools in this way. When your tool is no longer working, it's probably not you. What's happened is your business has grown beyond it. So instead of getting upset, what I want you to do is say, yay, my business is growing, So at the VA Connection about a year ago, we had a way that we set up all our events. We have a lot of events. And all of a sudden it kept breaking. And I was like, why? Where are these mistakes coming from? And I said to my team, okay, you guys rock. We just broke our system. We outgrew it. And I came up with a new system, and now we're cooking right along. So don't be discouraged, because I have moved through different tools to find the ones that are right for me. So just keep that in mind. And when it comes to project management, there's Basecamp, Trello, Asana. I haven't always used. I ended up using Teamwork. There's ClickUp. I think Dubsado is project management. There's a lot of different tools out there, but just make sure, again, that the tool is solving your problem and not causing one. Okay? Good. Another thing that's really important is time tracking. All right? Time tracking is important because your time is worth money. Now, I really highly recommend that everyone charge by the hour. And there's a lot of reasons for this. And if you want to dive into that deeper, yesterday I did a session. I did a session on the debit card system. And I talked deeply about flat rate versus retainers versus getting paid by the hour. So you can find that in the Kickstart Challenge Facebook page, and you can it's pinned to the guides. You can also find that in the VA Connection group. It's in the feed, or you can look over in recent activity and find it right there. Okay. So yes, I can definitely rename the project management tools. So Basecamp, that's kind of corporate-y, and I don't like that one at all. I had to use it with a client, and I kind of struggled with it. The reason I didn't like it was it's not very sophisticated, and I just kept tripping over it. Trello, a lot of people love Trello. I mean, VAs and Trello are like, peanut butter and jelly. So definitely check that out. It didn't fit my style. I have planned things in it. I planned my wedding in Trello. because like I could move things across, from need to do, in process, completed. But when it came to my client checklist, I needed to see all of in Trello, you have to open the card, to see what's inside. I just needed them to be open all the time. And so I chose Teamwork, where that's how it's set up. It's lists. It's very sort of Excel-like, where Trello is just more of it's a different interface. And so it just suited me. Asana is another one a lot of people like. ClickUp, Amy's saying that she likes. So the thing is pick one that you like, stick with it for a while, and if it works, great, you found your thing. And if it doesn't work, then switch later. So I used Basecamp for quite a while, and I moved completely into it because everyone was talking about it. A lot of my clients had it, and I said, okay, what is this about? Then I tried Asana next, used it for a while. I just didn't like it. Nothing wrong with it. A lot of people use it. And then Trello, I didn't try until years later. I didn't get it. I completely didn't get it. And since I thought, so many VAs like it, I actually spent almost a whole Saturday trying to understand it. And it just doesn't mesh with my brain. That's okay. My team loves it. They use it all the time. Okay. And then the one that I settled on, like I said, is Teamwork. All right. So let's jump back to time tracking. So time tracking is really important because, and I mentioned to you to go watch, you can re-watch that debit card system webinar that we did yesterday. And so how you want to track your time is in the moment. So you do the work, you track the time. And I recommend that you batch your work. So if you have multiple tasks for a client, you do all of the tasks for the client, close everything up, track your time, move on to the next one, and then just do that all day. Because I found that time gets lost, and you don't want to lose a minute. You really don't. So I use Toggle. I use the free version. Other people like Clockify, Harvest, and I'm sure there are a lot more out there. So you can definitely check those out. Okay. Now there's other tools that I use as well. And I just want to sort of, you guys, I have been talking so much in the last 2 weeks. It's like my brain is working really hard to come up with these words. So thanks for your patience. Other tools that support me. So one is Evernote. I have found that I take much better notes when talking to a client when I use Evernote. And I like it because it's free. I have the free version. There are many other things you can use. I'm sure there are probably 25 other note-taking applications you can use. I just like Evernote. Again, it works with my brain. Zoom is also important. And I say that because it didn't used to be. I mean, before 2020, I was one of the only people I knew that had a Zoom account, and I had a paid account. And I want to tell you a couple of things about Zoom that you might not know. You can remote control your client's computer using Zoom. So what you can do is you can request access, and you guys can share the screen, and you can move around their computer. And that's why I had Zoom. I was never on camera. I used it to remote control my clients' computers or to show them something. If they wanted to, if I was having an issue with their website, we could share the screen and see it. So Zoom is good for this, the one-on-one. But it's also a good tool for remote controlling computers. You can do whiteboard sessions. There's a lot of different things that Zoom does beyond video conferencing. Okay. Pandora's on my list. I listen to music all day long. And so that's on my list as well. Spotify, whatever Apple Music you listen to, I consider that a tool. I need that to stay in my seat. And there's a bunch of others that you'll discover over time, and just be patient with yourself. You don't need everything all at once. It's like a little bit at a time. Okay, good. Well, it's the top of the hour, and I just want to tell you about something brand new that we're doing on Friday. So a lot of you attended the VA Client Kickstart Challenge last week. It was about an hour and a half a day, some days 2 hours. Lots of information on how to get a steady stream of clients in your business. So what we've done is on Friday, I've taken all of the days and I've compressed the information into 3 hours. So if you want an energy boost, if you're thinking about joining VA school and you're like, you know what, I just want to hang out with Belinda a little bit longer before I decide, this will be for you. It's going to be an actual workshop, meaning there's a workbook, and we're gonna do the work during the 3 hours. During the 3 hours. Now, if you signed up for the Kickstart Challenge and you started, bring that workbook with you. Or you can get a new one. The cover is different, the colors are different, but the questions and all the work is the same. So we're going to work through all of that. And I have some really cool music that we play while we're doing the workshop sessions. Okay. So absolutely sign up for that. You can sign up for that. Let me get the URL, vachallengeworkshop.com. vachallengeworkshop.com. We haven't even announced it yet. We're going to start telling people about it tomorrow. I finished the sign up page last night. I'm really excited about it. So I hope you'll join me. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. We're action packed today. We've got a session at noon all about email newsletters. So if you're interested, pop on over to the VA Connection or also over to the Kickstart Challenge. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. Bring your questions to the next session. Bye for now.